For nearly 3 decades, E3, which stands for Electronic Entertainment Expo, was the crown jewel of the gaming industry. It was the ultimate battleground where the biggest gaming companies, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and countless others fought for attention, bringing out their most impressive announcements, trailers, and demos. The Expo's presence and the spectacle of its press made it the Super Bowl of gaming. But today, E3 has become a former shadow of itself, and the question we all want to know is what happened. Now, the story of E3's fall is not one of sudden collapse, but rather a slow death by changes in how we consume media, evolving industry practices, and the digital age influence on event culture. Let's go back to the beginning. E3 was born in 1995, a time when the gaming industry was bursting with potential. Developers, publishers, and hardware manufacturers needed a stage to showcase their products, and E3 answered the call. The event quickly became more than just a trade show. It was the defining moment of the gaming calendar. It was the place where game-changing announcements were made, and companies took full advantage of this, delivering some of the most iconic moments in gaming history. Let's think back to 1999 when Sony revealed the PlayStation 2, or 2005 when Microsoft unveiled the Xbox 360. These were moments that left a mark on the gaming community, moments that gamers still talk about today. E3 was the platform where developers and publishers pulled out all of the stops to generate hype and excitement. The press conferences became larger than life spectacles, featuring everything from surprise reveals and unexpected guest appearances to flashy demos of cutting-edge technology. For years, E3 held a powerful grip on the gaming industry. If you were a gamer, you had to tune in. If you were a developer, you had to be there. The event was not only a space for showcasing new games, but also a big part of the industry's marketing machine. So how did something as big as E3 fall from grace? Well, one of the first nails in the coffin came in the form of a digital shift. As the internet began to evolve and live streaming became more popular, E3's exclusive atmosphere began to crumble. Companies realized that they no longer needed to wait for E3 to make their big announcements. I mean, why fly across the country to make an impact when you can do it online, on your own terms, and to a global audience? In 2013, Microsoft and Sony both broke tradition by hosting their own press conferences week before the official E3 event. By the time E3 rolled around, the biggest announcements had already been made, and the show felt more like a follow-up rather than the centerpiece. With the rise of social media platforms like Twitter and YouTube, the need for E3 as the central hub for news and releases became less urgent. Events like Nintendo Directs and Sony State of Play shifted the focus away from traditional gaming trade show, and the public began to wonder if E3 still had the same significance. At the same time, other trade shows and conventions started to attract attention. Gamescom in Germany, PAX in Seattle, and even smaller events like the Tokyo Game Show offered alternative spaces for companies to showcase their games. These events were growing in popularity, attracting large crowds and offering more accessible, fan-friendly experiences. E3, which had always been a business-focused event, was quickly overshadowed. The push for greater accessibility at these events also put pressure on E3 to evolve, but instead of adapting, E3 clung to its outdated model. The show continued to be centered around industry professionals, journalists, developers, and publishers, while fans, who were the lifeblood of the gaming community, were left to watch from afar. The lack of a direct connection between the show and the people who mattered most, gamers, began to feel like a major misstep. Behind the scenes, E3's struggles were mainly because of lack of clear vision. In 2015, ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, which organizes E3, made the fateful decision to allow the public to attend the event for the first time in years. While the move was intended to change the event and make it more inclusive, it also added to the chaos. The event became overcrowded with long lines and a lack of space for all the games on display. The combination of industry professionals and fans created nightmares that did little to improve the experience. But the real blow came in 2020, when E3 was officially canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This event proved to be a major turning point. With no E3, companies shifted to online reveals, using platforms like Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter to announce their games. The virtual showcases were widely embraced, and many people realized that they didn't need E3 to get the latest gaming news. So when the show returned in 2021, it was a bad imitation of its former self. Several key players like Sony and EA chose to skip the event entirely, opting for their own events or digital showcases. The absence of big names from the show made it clear that E3 had lost its status as the industry's premier event. In 2023, the ESA announced that E3 would be cancelled once again because of lack of interest from major companies. The writing was on the wall. E3 had become outdated and struggling to keep up with the times. Once a symbol of the industry's power and influence, E3 now serves as a tale of how even the most iconic brands can lose relevance if they fail to adapt to change.